We've shown Noelle a lot of love on the channel here, guys, and I know a lot of you guys would be interested because you find some stuff on Noelle either on this channel or other places, and she's also featured on the banner recurring this week here with patch 1.4. So I want to give you guys some information on some ways that you could set yourself back or even ruin your builds with Noelle. You're doing stuff, but you could be doing much better stuff if you gear out in slightly different ways here. So let's talk about that today. Now, first and foremost here, what I want to talk about is when you pull Noelle, you have to pick what you want her to do at the start of the game. She's either going to be able to do damage or be tanky or be your healer, right? When you're first starting out, you'll be able to do a lot of those things. Eventually, she's going to be able to do all of the things. And this comes down to the way that you level your talents here. So her talents, she has 3 ones that you have to level: normal attack, her E, and her elemental burst here, sweeping time. A lot of you guys here, you're going to get to the point where you have them all leveled up, and you're going to start needing to actually level up and acquire Dvalin's Claws here, which is like a weekly timed out lockout here. So the way that I go about this here is I take breastplate up until it starts to need Dvalin's Claws. I would leave that there, okay? Especially if you want to focus on a damage dealing Noelle. And then you have to pick between her normal attack and her elemental burst. Now it's gonna behoove you guys out there to level up her normal attack first, especially if you're gonna crown something first, right? Where you need the crown material to take something to level 10. Crown the normal attack first. This is because all of your damage is coming through this talent. Even with sweeping time activated, this is the most common question I get. I have sweeping time activated. Where's the damage coming from? Is it from the elemental burst here? Because I see damage numbers here, or is it from the normal skill? Where's it coming from? So these 2 numbers that you see here, skill damage and elemental burst damage, that is the 2 hits that you do with sweeping time when you activate it. When she puts the sword back and procs it, and the blade extends, and then she does 1 sword swing on her own when you activate it. That's those 2 things there. Afterwards, everything that you do, all your charge attacks spinning around, your normal attacks, all of that stuff, plunging attacks, it's all tied to this talent here. And this is the one that's going to give you the most amount of damage, because this is where all of your different stats are going to be added together, and they're going to use these damage multipliers. So all of your attack percent, your defense percent that's turned into attack here, your crit chance, your crit damage, all of that is going to be funneled into this and be compiled into this number. And the higher this number is, the more damage you're going to do. So make sure when you're maxing out which one of these 2 first, go for the normal attack. Make sure you crown that one, especially that one if you have to choose between the 2. I know the big cool number might look good when you have your elemental burst procced, but this is what's most important. Now, the other thing I want to talk about here, speaking of big cool numbers on your elemental burst when it's procced, is the way that you guys are using your artifact sets. We'll talk about sets itself, but before we get into the sets themselves, let's talk about the stats that you have on your set. So I know a lot of people out there, I get this question all the time, like 5 times a day. And it's, what should I have for my main stats? Even though we have like 17 videos on the channel, it's cool. We'll get in here, let's answer that again. You're going to want to have a defense percent stance, especially once you get that elemental burst leveled up. Even if you're not constellation 6, it's going to allow you to have a tanky, healer, bruiser, damage dealing Noelle. This is going to be funneled into everything she does. Bigger shields, bigger heals, and you're still going to get a fair amount of attack off of your elemental burst, especially once you have that leveled up with your normal attack talent. Even if you're not constellation 6, you're still going to get a large amount of bonus attack from this. The other thing to talk about here, why is it that good to have defense percent? Not only does it get funneled in there, but you also gain a little bit more bonus of a stat here on defense percent main stat instead of attack percent, because you can see defense gets 58.3% in the main stat, whereas attack only gets 46.6%. So that's going to be definitely a thing, especially if you're constellation 6. You 100% do not want an attack percent sans. It always will be worse than a defense percent sans. Now, I see a lot of people that go defense percent, and defense percent. Maybe at the start of the game when you're first working, right, you can go defense percent, attack percent, because start of the game artifacts, that's different, guys. You want to just focus on doing damage, get that attack percent, all that cool stuff. Getting crit rate and geo damage goblets and stuff like that, that's nothing that you're really going to be able to actually even do when you're just first starting out in Genshin Impact there. Now, why do you want geo damage? Why do you want crit rate? This is because it harkens back to the basic mathematics of the damage formula in Genshin here. And we just talked about why you want to have your normal attack leveled up. That's because all of your bonuses, all your multipliers are driven through this. That's where you get your final damage multiplier. And the more attack that you have, the more defense that you have, that's great. That's nice. Like when I have my elemental burst up, I have like 4,000 something attack. That's what it is. Even though it only says 1,100 here, we get our defense percent stacks up from White Blind, which is what we're using. We pop that elemental burst, and we have a bunch of attack. You could have maybe 5,000, 6,000 attack there. But what you really want to do here is you have a bunch of this big base multiplier, right? Your attack. But you need it to crit. You need crit damage, and then you need the lovely Geo damage goblet. The Geo damage goblet is huge because all of your damage when your elemental burst is up is Geo. And it's one of the only ways for Noelle to actually gain this stat. You can see down here, 46.6. That comes entirely from her goblet there. So make sure, I know that it's hard. RNG artifacts are out there. But rule of thumb here, at the end of the day, eventually Geo damage goblet should be your focus there. Obviously, you need something good substats here. You could use a defense percent goblet here if you have like the godly defense percent goblet. It's got like 30 crit damage on it and 15 crit rate, and it's just insanely strong, and your Geo damage goblet just has nothing on it whatsoever. But if you guys have the opportunity between two different goblets, both with decent, well-rolled substats here, they're pretty equal. The Geo damage bonus goblet is going to beat that out by 1.5 miles there, because this is giving us almost a 50% free mod increase for overall damage at the end of the damage formula there, with all other mod increases. So we'll talk about more mod increases in a second here. The last one here, defense percent. I see this all the time. Should I go defense, defense, defense? The last one, you really want crit rate or you want crit damage circlet. Which one that you're going to have is going to be dependent on the rest of your substats. You want to aim for 50 to 60ish%. That's a good rule of thumb crit rate there, and then try to get at least double of that in crit damage. So if you go ahead and you look at my details here, you're going to see that I have 49 right here and then 121, and this is because Hu Tao has lovely stole some of my artifacts. So let's swap over here real quick. How are you stealing all my stuff? All right, so we'll go back in and same stat, but I'm 57 crit rate and 128 crit damage. I could get better crit damage eventually, right? Just get better rolled artifacts here, but the crit damage, crit rate, try to get something like this. It's going to be very powerful. You'll be able to put out some really nice numbers with Noelle this way. Now, the last star here is energy recharge. Energy recharge is very powerful for Noelle because she has a hard time actually getting that elemental burst energy restored to her. It does only last 15 seconds, and it does have a 60 energy cost here. But the real downfall here is breastplate is terrible, absolutely terrible at regenerating energy in any way, shape, or form for you. I don't even believe that it actually generates any particles when you use it, even if you hit an enemy with it. So you really, really, really do want at least a little bit of energy recharge here. And as you can see, I have 40%, and that all comes from substats and energy recharge. And that's the thing that lets my Noelle swirl and spin and whirl and twirl and do Geo damage all the time. I get that question asked all the time. How do you have your elemental burst up all the time? What is going on? That's why 40% energy recharge, that helps out a ton there. And you're gonna say, what about my weapon? What should I do here? Now, there's gonna be two weapons, and they're both 4 stars, and they do not even act like 4-star weapons in the hand of Noelle here. But we have the white blind, which is the one that you guys can craft with the prototype claymore, right? You get a couple of these pretty easily when you first start Genshin, and then after that, it's all RNG as to whether or not you'll ever see them again. Now, the other 4-star weapon that is particularly very, very strong for her is going to be the Serpent Spine. Now, the Serpent Spine is very good because it has crit rate as its substat there. So you're going to be able to build, all your defense percent in your artifacts. You have defense everywhere. You have your elemental burst give you attack, and this is going to probably let you wear like a crit damage circlet and get more crit damage than you would with the white blind. At the end of the day, though, with proper builds, you have good crit damage on your white blind build. This one, as well as the Serpent Spine, they're going to be able to do very comparable damage. The difference here comes down to the fact that this one, the white blind, is going to help all of your defensive capabilities out, better shields, better heals, and still do literally neck and neck, like literally the same amount of damage on all of their skills there in the build there. That's why the white blind is so powerful, whereas the Serpent Spine is easier to build, right? You don't need as much crit rate, which is a huge boon, but this makes you take more damage as well. Even at Refinement Rank 1, 6% more damage done every 4 seconds. You get max stacks on that. That is very powerful. That is very, very, very strong there. You will take 15% more damage here as well, so you can have slightly weaker shields. So let's get into the artifact set. You always have this question: is it Gladiator? Is it Retracing Bolide set? I'm a stand firm behind Retracing Bolide being absolutely oppressively good for this character. Okay, you have the Gladiator set that you can use, get 18% attack. Not that crazy good for her, especially when 2 of her best weapons are 4 stars. They have lower base attack than 5-star weapons. Not that crazy. Also, her base attack is pretty low as well, so that doesn't help with that 18% attack either. And then, the Gladiator set, that's pretty cool. It's got the nice little bit of 35% more normal damage increase because she is using a claymore. But if you have a shield on with the retracing bolide set, 40% normal attack damage and 40% charge attack damage. So 5% more on your normal attack than the big old gladiator set, and 40% more on your charge attack if you want to spin against a bunch of enemies, which you will do on Noelle from time to time against lots of AoE small trash types where she really shines. That isn't even on the gladiator set. And then the other thing that people really don't talk about is the 2-piece set, the shield strength increase of 35%. This gets overlooked so much, and it after 1.3 became incredibly powerful on Geo characters, especially like Noelle, or characters that aren't even Geo, just characters that are in a party with a Geo character that can give a Geo shield, like Noelle. Very, very good here. And this is because that stat works very, very well. So we have 35% shield strength here. You're running Noelle in a double Geo team, works extremely well with Zhongli or Albedo or Ningguang. All three of those characters are insanely powerful. I use Noelle with Ningguang all the time, and you're going to get that double Geo resonance bonus, which increases the stat by another 15%. So if you're using Noelle, you want her to do damage, run her with another Geo character. Work on Ningguang as well if you have her. You're going to like the way you look, all right? Don't copyright me, okay? You're going to like all them damage numbers flying up. But the other reason why this stat is so strong is you're going to get that 50% shield strength increase. What does that mean? It means that your shield, say you have like a 10,000 HP shield with Noelle, that increased by 50%. So now it's a 15k HP shield. But her shield is a Geo shield, and Geo shields in 1.3 have that 150% efficacy bonus against elemental and physical attacks. So everything in the game, it gets another bonus on top of that. So your 10k HP shield is absorbing 20k damage minimum, which is super strong. Now you've pretty much doubled that base value, and you're going to have a lot of defense here on the white blind build. So you're going to be taking less damage. Your shield's going to be blocking all of that damage, and you're going to be able to stand in everything. You're not going to lose DPS. You don't have to dodge and duck and weave. You can stand in that fireball. You can stand in the frost claw. You can just stand there and do whatever you want. And that's technically a DPS increase because you're just attacking the whole time. And that is huge, 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 huge. Because if you're attacking 2 times as often than another build, you're doing 2 times the amount of damage. So that's very, very, very strong there as well. So don't forget about the retracing bolide set. It is very, very good for this character. So if you're new to Noelle and you're new to the channel, we have so many guides on Noelle. We have math guides on Noelle. We have bajillion guides on Noelle. I'll try to link them all in the description of this video for you guys. Make sure you check them out if you want to see more Genshin Impact content. We don't just do Noelle stuff. We do all the other characters as well. It'd be awesome to see you guys come back to the channel again. So make sure you hit that subscription button and turn that notification bell on so I can see you guys' smiling faces down in the comment section as well. Until then, guys, have fun out there, and I'll see you in the next one.